Hey y'all, happy Tuesday. So, I am just going to give people a few minutes to get in the room and let the notification go out. Hopefully, everybody is doing well tonight. And we're going to talk about a few things tonight. As y'all know, it's always something going on. But I think my computer is lagging just a little bit. So let me know as y'all come into the room. But hey, and happy Tuesday. And I'm trying to get okay, here we go. Get myself together here. All righty. So, hey, Lavon. Hey, Black Introvert. Hey, BMT. Hey, Jeffrey. Hey, Paul. Hey, Edward. Hey, Project 704. So hopefully everybody is doing good. Welcome. If you're new, I'm definitely happy to have you here. Hopefully everybody is doing well. And I know we slowly have people coming into the room. I want to go ahead and shout out my VIP patrons, Ray, Michael, Ray, and Valdis. Thank y'all so much. And to all my patrons, thank y'all so much for supporting me. My Twitter has been off the hinges today. If you are not following me on Twitter, what the heck are you waiting on? I am over there at RhondaMary Vids, VIDS. And some days I just wake up. Hey, the Awakened Soul. Y'all make sure y'all go over there and follow my friends at the Awakened Soul too. King Hayes, he does like podcasting. But yeah, y'all, so sometimes I just wake up on Twitter and I just say what the heck ever. Like it just depends on what type of mood I'm in, and it's just on and popping. So the tweet right now that everybody's in my comments about, let me tell y'all. It says, what does it say? Oh, I did a whole little thread. Let me read it to y'all. So I said, hopefully Jay-Z riding on the backs of Black Lives Matter just to give us a Taco Tuesday halftime show, and Jada Pinkett turning Snoop's comments about Gayle to being about all Black women shows y'all what I have been saying about these celebrities all along. These entertainers are not leaders. So that's the one that's getting pretty good retweets right now. And people coming in and stuff like that. I said, for the record, I was never okay with Snoop calling Gayle a funky dog head B. But to play this up, manipulate people's emotions, drag it, and use this as an opportunity to push an agenda is peak manipulation. Hey, Helena. It's Helena's daughter's birthday. To her, I said happy birthday, Helena. But Edward, yes, I have a Twitter. So let me tell you this. It's really crazy because I had a Twitter back like in the day, probably like 2012 or 13 or something. I don't know. And I stopped using it for years. And I'm just now getting back on there good. That was so country. I'm just not getting back on there good. But yeah, and once you really get into Twitter and you follow the right people, it's so much better than everything else. Like you get the news first. It's just always something to talk about. People are really interested on there. Like I feel like all the trends and stuff hit Twitter first. So yeah, if you're not on Twitter, I would definitely say get on Twitter for sure. But so I've been having a lot of people hit my inbox about that. And I'm with this whole like Snoop Dogg going on the Red Table Talk to address these statements to Gayle, looking totally defeated. I'm so over it. They have completely ran this story into the ground. They made, like I said, I do not agree with his comments. However, I could imagine, if I had a really close friend that passed and, these allegations had been put away for so long, I could imagine having some type of vitriol towards that as well. However, that does not give him a pass for the type of language that he decided to use. I mean, whatever. But however, for them to totally drag this situation and make it something that is not, just to push this BS gender war, feminism, protect women at all freaking cost, even when they can be held accountable to, criticized, or whatever the case may be. Like, I'm not with it. So you have people like these celebrities that'll see money opportunities. You know what I mean? The Red Table Talk is mostly watched by women. Women are very top consumers, and so if you can appeal to women, especially, I'm sure most of the people that watch their show are younger women, college women, things like that. So you're probably thinking the people that are watching this is falling right into the agenda that they're trying to push. So I'm just so over it. They totally spent this, made it something. Oh my God, it's just so far gone at this point. And so, yeah, I'm like, wow. But hopefully these things happening are finally opening people's eyes. That makes me happy. I want people from what Jay-Z did to what Jada Pinkett Smith did to these, you saw how all these blue checks was trying to push Kamala Harris, even after all the pushback that they were getting. You saw with the Harriet movie, all the pushback they were getting, blue checks galvanizing together to work against the voices of the public and stuff like this. So hopefully people are really starting to see that it's no way that all these blue chicks just happen to agree. That just doesn't, like, what's the chances of that? And then when you have people that don't agree, like we talked about Boosie, the rapper, last week, that had those choice words for Dwayne Wade, he's attacked. People like that, they never really, I don't, is Boosie mainstream? I really I think he was kind of going that way at one point, but I don't know. I wouldn't say he's mainstream because he's not like a household name or anything. So no. But when you have people like that, they always push the most radical, the most whatever goes, no type of standards, no type of morals. These are the images they push, really, really, for all media, honestly. But I mean, Black people just really get the brunt of it, honestly. Our representation in media is trash, for the most part. So, but yeah, the Awakened Soul said all mainstream media has an agenda, and these celebrities are often used as pawns to draw people into the indoctrination. Absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. And why people look up to these people like heroes, and just, I mean, you really want to see people attack you, talk to you crazy, call you everything but a child of God, like give even a little pushback to their favorite celebrities, even a little. So yeah, I'm like, it's crazy. But Mailman said, if they are the pawns, who is the puppet master? It really just depends, and it really just depends on the agenda. I think you have it's this scripture that I was trying to think of. I learned this like so long ago, And I was saying how it's crazy how this is one of the most relevant things ever inked on paper to this day. But I think the scripture says something like, we wrestle not against flesh and blood. Y'all know what I'm talking about, but against principalities, and I can't remember the exact wording, but it's like unseen powers or something like that. And so when we talking about puppet masters, I think it's easy to just try to point at people we see on television. And a lot of times I think it's way deeper than that. That's why I said people like Jada Pinkett. I don't think Jada Pinkett is, trying to, now this is just me maybe giving her the benefit of the doubt. But I don't think that Jada Pinkett is trying to um lend her voice per se to the gender war. I don't think Jada Pinkett Smith has this massive agenda to destroy the nuclear family. Like, no, I don't think, she's hiding behind a mask with some team to figure out how to do that. That's not what I believe. What I do believe is when they have a thirst for money, these celebrities and these entertainers, when they have a thirst for money, they will feed into whatever agenda is paying at the moment. So when you have these other people that, are behind the scenes, when you have these other people that are behind the scenes and the agenda started way long ago, and then you see these celebrities, and these are entrepreneurs, these are capitalists, they think money, they're constantly thinking money. And so they see an opportunity. I don't think it's necessarily, I was even talking about this with the whole social justice thing. Like, a lot of people were just, I feel like, just saying things. And you can even say this with the whole Jussie Smollett thing. I feel like he was prepping himself by doing that whole thing. I feel like he was prepping himself for book tours and music tours and to be hailed as some type of social justice hero and things like this. And so I just think a lot of times they see money, opportunity. Social justice sales, people eat it up. You still have all these freaking civil rights movies coming out every year. Still, like, can we get some black astronauts and fairies and scientists and hippies and space cadets? Like, I mean, so we know what's happening. I mean, that's just what it is. But other than that, I heard y'all are out here letting midgets grift y'all. We got baby midgets out here grifting y'all. The grift continues. Y'all love to give y'all money away. This is another example. This is just a perfect segue into y'all just like to give y'all money away. Y'all like sob stories. Y'all like struggle stories. You like stuff that upsets you and makes you mad. You couldn't tell a grifter if he poked you in the forehead. So you got the little boy, I'm sure y'all saw it online. I guess he has like dwarfism or something like that. These people have given him thousands and thousands of dollars. Hey, George. Hey, Great Black Shark. People have given him thousands and thousands of dollars after this sob story. Once again, bullying is also a hot topic right now. Everybody's so emotional and people like getting their heartstrings pulled on. And don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not like, I already know. When I have kids, whew, That's that. That's the one thing. I'm not, see, I'll talk to you. I'll talk all day. I'm not really gonna, fight or anything like that. But whoo, I could just imagine. As overprotective as I am of my little brother and sister, I can't even imagine. So, there's definitely something to say about that. But bullying is a hot topic right now because we live in a super sensitive, emotional culture, right? Like, when I used to think of bullying, I used to think about somebody pushing you up against a locker, putting your head in the toilet and flushing it and stuff like this, trying to fight you, pick on you, things like this. Today's culture, people calling you a nerd is bullying. So, we're in this super hypersensitive culture, and the easiest time to grift somebody is when their emotions are high. When somebody's emotions are high is the easiest time to basically manipulate them. Because you're not thinking logically. You're not thinking logically. You're in a complete emotional state. So it's the easiest time to grift people. And marketers know this, celebrities know this, politicians know this. Make people feel something. Make them feel something that they can resonate with, and they will give you money. They will buy your products. They will vote for you, even though you've proven nothing. You just talk. You're a wonderful speaker. So yes, election year, get the grift dollars. But that's where we are with it. Like, you can't walk outside without stepping on somebody's toes. That's the culture we have created. I blamed all of y'all who started giving y'all kids these participation trophies and this, then the other. That, like, this idea, whether through politics, whether socially, whatever, this idea that I saw, what's the guy's name? Mark, I'll think of it in a second. He's like a commentator. Mark Lamont Hill. Today, he mentioned something. He retweeted Bernie and was like, this is the man I feel like can change the world for a better place, or make the world a world I want to live in, or something like this. And I'm like, some of y'all are so far gone that you actually believe you can remove the humanness from society. Like, I really hate to be the bearer of bad news. I like unicorns and rainbows too. I like to sit out in the sun on a nice day. I like that. Looking up at the clouds. I love the clouds, by the way. But nonetheless, people, I don't know what it's gonna take for people to understand that everything that comes with human nature is always going to be here. And this is the funny part about it. The more you try to manipulate human nature, the worse things get. This is why oftentimes I'll talk about how progressiveness is regressive. I don't even want to go into all this right now, but y'all know what I mean about, you can see the things happening with the gender war. You can see how we are going backwards as far as women competing in sports, all of the gains during the civil rights movement. Like, everything, people are just crossing wires. You're so far gone until you're not making sense anymore. And so the more people try to manipulate things, they're thinking it's going to make things better. And you have a lot of people suffering, I think, because of that. And so I don't even want to really go into that, because Just gonna completely take this conversation somewhere else. But the grift continues. Okay. You got your boy Andrew Yang out here becoming a political commentator. This is according to LATimes.com. Andrew Yang joined CNN as a political commentator, and he'll be on air for the Nevada debate. So this was February 19th. Former presidential candidate Andrew Yang is taking on a new role as a political commentator for CNN. He and the network announced Wednesday, and his first appearances discussed his former rival's performance at Wednesday's night debate in Las Vegas. I'm excited to join CNN to help shed light on the election and the candidates' experiences, the entrepreneur wrote on Twitter. Learned a lot these past months, and I'm glad to contribute to the discussion. So y'all know Yang became wildly popular for his universal basic income. That's basically, was his main thing that he ran on, talking about like automation and things like that. It's both an honor and a disappointment to be the lone candidate of color on this stage tonight, he said at the December debate in Los Angeles. Yang, who missed the polling requirement for the January debate in Des Moines, has also criticized the Democratic National Committee for removing the fundraising requirement for debate qualification, a move that allowed former New York Mayor Michael R. Bloomberg to qualify for a debate in Las Vegas on Wednesday night. The DNC changing its debate criteria to ignore grassroots donations seems tailor-made to get Mike Bloomberg on the debate stage in February. So, grift is basically to sell something, to see an opportunity. And a lot of times, what's the best way I can put it? Because Cars 10 said to con. Yeah, I mean, that's one way you can look at it, but it's basically just taking the most out of an opportunity, basically, to make money. So, and the making money trumps the actual emotional side of what you're doing, or the virtue signaling side of what you're doing. So anyway, Andrew Yang joined CNN. So, some people, especially Yang supporters, are looking at this in a favorable way. I can see that, because they feel like, oh, okay, he's going to be getting his voice out more. Now he can, just talk about his platform more, talk about his ideas, and basically he's setting himself up for 2024. Whereas me, I'm already super suspicious about people, and Andrew Yang appears to come off like a pretty genuine person. I would say that. But I just know that it's so many people that specifically run for the social status. Specifically. They're not really running to be president. Do I think Andrew Yang was really running to be president? I mean, I don't know. Possibly. But a lot of people standing along with him, standing beside him, it's just not the case. I'm very skeptical of where the leftover campaign funds go after their campaign ends. I think it's only been maybe 10 years since stricter laws were put into place to say that they basically have to spend the rest of that money. But I think it was only probably let's see, so we're in 2020, maybe like, I don't know, 10 years, maybe 20 years, where they could keep that money. Basically, I don't know if y'all knew that. But it's fairly recent that they've made laws, and even now, y'all know they can disperse the money that they make into what do you call those? Non-profits. A lot of these people had their own non-profits. Hillary Clinton, ding ding ding. Does that ring a bell? Like, where do y'all think all these? I don't know. I think a lot of these people are. Helena says it goes into a super PAC. It doesn't have to go. It doesn't have to go into a super PAC. To my understanding, they can donate this money to other organizations. It can go into a super PAC. They can donate it to other candidates and stuff like that. And so I don't know, I hate the way, but I'm just like, but you obviously had a lot of candidates really just getting in there. I think some of them are narcissists, and then the others you have just basically trying to get their social status up there so they can do appearances, possibly set themselves up for VP, just get their name recognition out there and things like this. So we know this is happening. Helena said, yeah, but HRC actually bought and owns the DNC. That's how she bought 2016. And I think it appears to be that's the same path that Mike Bloomberg is on. So but I'm like, and then as far as him being a commentator, just that in general, so CNN took every single step to block Andrew Yang out during this entire process. Like, they took every opportunity to diminish your campaign, and now you're gonna go feed into that system. Like, is that really a win? And we know a lot of times when it comes to networks and systems and things like that, you become a player. You become a player in the system. A lot of times that's how that goes. So it's really hard for me to see this as a chess move. Like, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe he'll set himself up to run again in 2024. But just knowing how CNN is and how they are literally a leg of the DNC, I have my doubts. So I think this is really more about him getting name recognition, and people also know that people like Andrew Yang, people like him, so he's probably going to bring some more viewers back to CNN. As we know, their numbers have been kind of dwindling over the years and things like this. So but we'll see. All right, so let's look at this with Bernie. So this is according to UStoday.com. Bernie Sanders briefed by U.S. officials that Russia is attempting to help his campaign. Washington U.S. officials have reportedly told Senator Bernie Sanders that Russia is attempting to help his presidential campaign, a revelation that follows U.S. intelligence officials briefing Capitol Hill that the Kremlin may also be attempting to help President Donald Trump in 2020, as they did in 2016. Sanders, in a statement, disavowed any alleged assistance from Russia President Vladimir Putin. I don't care, frankly, who Putin wants to be president. My message to Putin is clear: stay out of America's election. And as a president, I will make sure that you do. So let's just look at the video real quick, y'all.
Seeing Russia and other countries interfering in our elections. The intelligence community has been very clear about it. Whether Trump recognizes it or not, or acknowledges it or not, they did interfere in 2016. The intelligence community is telling us they are interfering in this campaign right now in 2020. And when I say to Mr. Putin, if elected president, trust me, you are not going to be interfering in American elections.
Senator, when were you briefed on this?
I'm guessing about a month ago.
And what are you going to do now that you know this?
Well, it was not clear what role they're going to play. We were told that Russia, maybe other countries, are going to get involved in this campaign. And look, here is the message to Russia: stay out of American elections. And what they are doing, by the way, the ugly thing that they are doing, and I've seen some of their tweets and stuff, is they try to divide us up. That's what they did in 2016. And that is the ugliest thing they're doing, is they are trying to cause chaos. They're trying to cause hatred in America. It's an ugly business, and all of us have got to say, sorry, you're not going to do this in this election. And again, as President of the United States, Mr. Putin, you will not interfere in our
And if
elections.
this came out a month ago, how do you think it came out now? If you had the briefing a month ago?
Well, I'll let you guess. About one day before the Nevada caucus. Why do you think it came out? Was the Washington Post? Good friends.
Oh man. Oh boy. So basically, thank you, Elwood. I can't even get it out. Elwood said, here we go again. I mean, at this point, y'all, at this point, like, so the Intelligence Committee is saying that Russia is attempting to aid Bernie, help Bernie. How freaking convenient. How freaking convenient. So this started as Russia trying to help Trump win, right? Trying to help Trump destroy America. But now the story is they want chaos. Now that Bernie's name is in a situation, you can't make it like, oh, they just want one person to win. Now you have to change the narrative. Now it's about they're just trying to cause chaos in Russia. This is after America has been notorious for interfering, interjecting, colluding, trampling on other countries. Having their hands in places they shouldn't be. America is freaking notorious for this. But here we are making Russia the freaking big bad wolf. Once again, people that believe this to this day are this is literally like somebody telling you the story of the big bad wolf. This is what this should be like at this point. It is tiring. And the levels, I mean, they just think we are completely just dumb. It's borderline offensive at this point. And then I kind of want to know, I'm a little bit curious for Bernie, right? You were totally cool. You totally fed into this narrative, knowing Russia was BS from the jump. A lot of us knew. I was talking about this so long ago before, I don't even know, before I even really, really knew that it was BS. And I'm like, some of the stuff they're telling us just isn't making sense. Initially, it went to being about voter polls. Oh, Russia hacked the voter polls. And then it was like, oh, Russia worked with Trump and was trying to get Trump to be a Russian puppet. And then it was, what was the next thing? Russia something else. I think of it in a second. Oh, Russia was messing with black people's brains, getting in their head and tricking them to not vote. And then Russia paid for all these Facebook ads, only $4,000. But all these Facebook ads that were enough to trick all of the black people to not vote. I'm like, what is it at this point? Then you had the Russian bots. Thank you, Lavon. Like, that is 4 or 5 different Russian narratives that I just named. Like, pick a narrative and stick to it. Now, after all that, now Russia is trying to cause chaos. Like, get the heck out of here. Bernie needs to stand the heck up and tell the truth. You were there that whole time. You were totally okay with the Russia BS, the propaganda, when it was against Trump. You were totally okay with wasting our freaking tax dollars. Now that they're going to do it to you, because you have to understand that DNC does not like non-establishment people. They don't like them, no matter what side of the fence they're on. I'm hoping you guys are seeing that. They don't like Trump. They don't like Bernie. The DNC will pick a freaking Mike Bloomberg. Like, what are people not seeing with this? And I guess Bernie thinks he's going to get some type of support or some type of, I don't know if he's virtue signaling or he thinks he's going to get some type of social points for trying to take the moral high ground. Don't you see that's not working? It has not worked. Bernie Sanders ended up losing a lot of support after 2016 because people feeling like, if you can't stand up to the freaking DNC, how are you going to stand up to people all across the world? How are you going to stand up for the rights of Americans? Like, and my thing is, I guess something in me just was really hoping that Bernie Sanders this time around was going to take the Tulsi Gabbard, like, look, this is what the DNC is doing. I'm standing up against it. I feel like you had the first time I feel like you had, and this is why, it's actually because thank independent media for this. Thank you, Scott. But thank independent media for this. I feel like for the first time, you actually had a lot of standout non-establishment candidates. And that is because of independent media, you had people being able to go here, go there, do these different interviews with the Breakfast Club and Joe Rogan and what's the other guy? But a lot of these different YouTubers. YouTube made that possible. You had the Andrew Yangs and the Marianne Williamsons and the Bernie Sanders and the Tulsi Gabbards. These people were able to make the waves that they were because of social media, because of Twitter, because of y'all, because of YouTube, because of you supporting independent media. If it wasn't for y'all, you wouldn't even know about these people at all. You wouldn't know, because the establishment has done every single thing possible to lock them out. Everything possible. And so I was really hoping that for the first time, I'm like, okay, something is happening here, because this is just different. And I'm hoping that these people are going to come together and be like, look, we can change the DNC. We can fight for different views and different people's voices to be heard. That did not happen. A lot of them watched Tulsi Gabbard come out trying to sue Google and sue Hillary Clinton and I feel like they're just looking at her from the sidelines like, girl, for real, you really gonna do that? And they'll say little things here and there, but I don't feel like anybody is trying to like stand up to it. And now it's so funny because I tell people whatever you allow and you're with and you use on the other team, whichever team that is, it's coming back to you. It is coming back to you. It's going to happen. So therefore, all that time, Bernie was totally cool with Russiagate. Now they're trying to catch him up also in Russiagate. And you even see at the end of that video I just showed y'all, he said, the reporter asked him, she was like, why do you think this is happening? If you knew this a month ago, if you were briefed on this by the intelligence agency, and you knew this a month ago, why not say something about it? Why do you think this is just coming out? And he was like, why do you think it's just coming out right before Nevada? Why do you think? So Bernie is, he feels some kind of way because he's still trying to drop the hint that, like, y'all see what's happening. They're trying to sabotage me. I don't agree with everything Bernie says, but I believe that people's ideas should be debated, because what happens is when you don't have people's ideas debated fairly, we end up in a freaking echo chamber. We end up in an echo chamber, and that is not good. That is not good. Lavon says socialism is racism and slavery. I would definitely like to hear you expand on that, Lavon. Thank you, the writer. Thank you so much. But at this point, it's gotten so ugly and it's so bad that you cannot even ignore what's happening. The media's deception. You literally have, I saw an article earlier today. Let me pull this up on Twitter, because this is laughable. These people are so they're so manipulative, man. They're so manipulative. I'm gonna tell y'all the name of this article, and I'm like, wow. I can't find it. It's on my Twitter somewhere. It says something like, oh, here it is. If Michael Bloomberg is the Democratic nominee, African Americans will take one for the team and vote for him. And this whole article, this is on the Chicago Tribune. This whole article tries to rationalize the reasons why Michael Bloomberg isn't that bad. He's bad, but he's not Trump bad. And the levels of deception, like, you know, have your opinion, whatever. I'm cool with that. If you can rationalize your opinion, I'm cool with that. But the hypocrisy is so astounding that it's sickening. And I feel like you have, and this is why I tell people, man, a lot of times people look up to these journalists, they look up to these politicians, these media personalities and stuff like this. And I feel like you have a lot of people, it's like screaming at the top of their lungs, like, you know, we want something different. We're not with this. We're against this. And then the media sticks something in your face and tells you you love it. You love it. You know you like it. you're okay with this. No, really. You are. You like Bloomberg, right? Because we like them. That's what we want. And yeah, the blacks, they love it. All of them. Over there. Michael Bloomberg. Like, what? Where I just want to see the polls. I just want to see the polls. At this point, as far as Michael Bloomberg, I honestly feel like the media has pushed a narrative to make people believe that something is happening that's just not even happening. I have not seen this resounding support for overwhelming support from Michael Bloomberg, yet every single time, even last week, this is so crazy. I actually can't show the clip because they'll demonetize me. But you had Meghan McCain calling out Joy and Whoopi on The View. And the way Joy was talking, you would think that she's basically saying, okay, it's going to be Mike Bloomberg against Trump. Like they just already have their mind made up. It's going to be Mike Bloomberg against Trump. And Meghan McCain was like, are y'all serious? Really? Like all these things Mike Bloomberg has done, y'all been saying for years you are against these things, and now you're not. And instead of Joy directly addressing what she said, they go into reading bullet points about Trump. Therefore, like I just said, yeah, Michael Bloomberg might be a little bad, but he's not Trump bad. This is their position. What type of position is that? What type of position is that? What type of position is that? And then you already have people that are not feeling good about this process. You keep getting this Russian narrative that completely undermines people's belief in this process. You see what the DNC is doing to underdog candidates. You see Mike Bloomberg basically being able to buy his way onto the debate stage. You see all these things happening. Your commentators can't be consistent. They don't have real morals or values. They just virtue signal. It's like, what? So I don't know. What I have been seeing, and I don't see everything, but what I have been seeing is a lot of people are either as far as the DNC goes, they see what's going on and they're completely disappointed by the process, or they are so completely sipping the Kool-Aid of the DNC that you can't tell them anything. Like, you can't tell them anything. And then I'm sure you have some people that fall somewhere towards one end or the other. Of that spectrum. But La Cobra said Bush Jr. bought an election win also. I don't, I was much younger, so I don't remember just a lot about the everything about the Bush era. But one thing that I do find with the DNC that I find to be really weird is the level of virtue signaling, right? Like, I don't, so I'm the type of person, right, that if you have a belief and you can rationalize it and stand on it, I find that way more favorable than this wavering thing, depending on who it is. You know what I mean? Like some people, for example, all right, I'm the type of person, the truth is the truth no matter who tells it. It's still the truth. But some people can't handle that. They can't handle, they maybe can't handle based on the way the person looks or dresses or their economic status or what neighborhood they're from or what school they're going to. They only want certain people to be able to give them certain information, right? And so my thing with that, with the DNC, is I just feel like it's a lot of wavering going on. Like, pick a position and stick with it. Are y'all really against the billionaire class, or are you not? Exactly, Helena. Like, just keep that same energy. Pick a position. And maybe that's why I really just can't take some of them serious, because you're so progressive that your wires are crossing and you end up going backwards or crossing out the things that you originally said you were for. And so, I don't know. As far as me taking it seriously, it's just hard to do. I just won't, if I talk about something, I really try to stand on and represent the things that I talk about, and I just want to see the same thing, especially from politicians that are making us all these promises. Like, you're making all these promises. I mean, can y'all at least halfway at least be truthful about the things you say in the media? Because heck, we don't even know what y'all saying behind closed doors. But let's jump into this Boy Scout story. This is the last story, and I really want to talk about this because this has not nearly been as talked about as I think it should. Now, the media is covering this. You have a lot of media outlets covering this. But in a world where everybody is so adamant, so against rape, we're so against sexual abuse, we're so against coercion, we're so against this, we're so against that. I just have not seen this really talked about in the social sphere as I would have imagined. So anyway, if you did not know, Boy Scouts facing sexual abuse lawsuits may declare bankruptcy. So this is actually this is the wrong article. Hold on, y'all. This is an older article. They did declare bankruptcy. So the Boy Scouts recently declared. Oh, you know what? It was a reason. It was a reason why I had that article pulled up, because it was something in there that I actually wanted to read, but okay. So this is according to US Today. Boy Scouts bankruptcy. What we know about the victims, assets, and the future of scouting. So the Boy Scouts of America filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection early Tuesday as the organization faces 275 abuse lawsuits and potentially an additional 1,400 cases to come, having already paid more than $150 million in settlements and legal costs between 2017 and 2019. The Boy Scouts hopes to contain the financial damage of the abuse scandal and emerge as a more sustainable organization. Bankruptcy was the only viable option for the Boy Scouts to consolidate numerous cases in one proceeding, pay its victims, and emerge as a sustainable entity. the organization said. But some victims' attorneys have said the nonprofit is turning to bankruptcy court to escape its allegations. So let's see. So let me tell y'all. So if y'all remember, well, let me just read this. This was from the other article that was from 2019 on CBS News. It said, in addition to growing its legal costs, the Scouts have seen their membership dwindle in recent years to 2.3 million youth members, down from 2.4 in 2014. Seeking to expand its membership, the Boy Scouts moved last year to start admitting girls. The Mormon Church in May said it would cut ties with the Boy Scouts after clashes over moves, including the inclusion of openly gay troop leaders. Okay. Other institutions facing multifaceted sexual abuse scandals have sought bankruptcy protection recently. So I'll drop both of these articles below, but that was the one from 2018. So this had kind of been oncoming for a while, but they finally went ahead and filed for bankruptcy. And so I just find it odd, right? A lot of feminists try to make us believe that feminism is about equality. It's about equality for women, right? But then when I go online and you have sexual abuse allegations towards men, you have all these teachers, these female teachers molesting male students. And you just never see the level of outrage. You never see the same level of outrage. And honestly, I particularly believe, this is my personal belief, even dating, right? I believe that so many men have been molested and it does not reflect in the numbers, the reports, the statistics that go for molestation and rape and things like this. I have known and dated guys that literally borderline would brag about their first experience being with much older women in the neighborhood, babysitters, and this, that, and the other. And we are a society that wants to overlook this. This same society will have the gall to talk about toxic masculinity, but we don't want to talk about the issues that lead to anger. And these issues are not gender specific, but these issues lead to anger, sadness, depression. It leads to promiscuity, and like I said, this is not gender related. It can lead to a disdain for the opposite sex. It can lead to a lot of things. You recently have, I believe it's Steven Spielberg's, if I'm not mistaken, daughter, who just came out and said that she's going to start being a sex worker. I guess that's what it's called. And even the way it's detailed, it makes me sick to my stomach, because when I see people say, normalize sex work. What I see is normalized trauma. That's what it looks like to me. Every time I see that, that's what it looks like to me. People want to make it some type of social progress to upstand, prostitutes and porn stars and this and the other. And if you ever go and listen to any type of documentaries from porn stars, from sex workers, 90% of the time, 90 freaking percent of the time, they're talking about how they were abused as children and or how drugs were heavily involved. Thank you so much, the writer. She said, come on, y'all, pay Rhonda for her mind and time. Take your cigarette and coffee money and give it to her. She deserves our support, LOL. Thank you so much, y'all. Eventually, I do want to do this. Like, hopefully this time by next year, I want to be trying to do YouTube full time. So it is something that eventually I'm working towards. I've been like super busy lately. But yes, like the writer said, y'all can definitely help that. If you like the content and support what I'm doing, please support because it really helps. Hey Gab. But going back to this Boy Scouts thing, right? I find it very unfortunate that people are not talking about this. People don't care. They don't care. And I think it's fair for me to say that. If this were the Girl Scouts, you'll see all type of hashtags, posters. People will be outside of the Girl Scouts with picket signs trying to shut it down. Like, y'all, let's be real. Let's be real. Hashtag save our girls. Hashtag me too. Hashtag feminism, whatever. But y'all, like, and this is what I mean about progressiveness being regressive, right? Because what happens is I'm all about supporting women and giving women opportunities and making spaces for women, whatever. I'm fine with that. However, when you do this to an extent that you leave your boys behind, you end up with broken boys. And what broken boys do is feed into the exact mentality that people like to call toxic. People that suffer from rape and molestation are more likely to possibly be raped or molested again, deal with a drug addiction and alcoholism. And we know these things just spirals into sometimes just not that great of a life. Not in every case, obviously. But you have a lot of people that those things take time to get over, or I don't even want to say get over, but basically emotionally even be able to move past, if you're able to move past it at all. And if you're creating a culture that is only trying to heal girls and doesn't care about boys, you are continuing to perpetuate the toxic masculinity that you talk about and you say you're against. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. So it's just super duper unfortunate, and people don't want to have real discussions anymore. They don't want to talk about the underlying themes for things, right? Everybody just wants to focus on the outcome, right? That's literally whether we're talking about body positivity, whether we're talking about sex work, whether we're talking about transgenderism, whether we're talking about, it's so many things I can name. So many things. But people really hate to have these balanced, nuanced conversations. You have so many people now, like people are more depressed. You have all these people on drugs. I mean, even if we're talking about gun violence, so many people committing suicide. I've had 2 close friends commit suicide within the last year. 2 guys. We are not having these real conversations. And so people just want to glaze over the root issues. And they want to make it all about expressing yourself outwardly. What about the inner? It's all about accolades and outward celebrations. It's all about what it looks like. And I think social media has fed into that. Everybody just want to look like something. They want to look like they have it all together and figure it out. And that's not what's happening. It's no freaking reason. It's no reason. None. Why I should know 2 men that have committed suicide within a year. So these deeper things that people are missing or feel like they don't have or don't have the answers for, and the world is just going on as if these little trinkets and pat on the heads and these shows are progressive, and they're not. They are not dealing with the human nature. And so I was talking to my cousin the other night, and she was like, Rhonda, I've been seeing what you're doing with your YouTube. That's how she talks too. I've been seeing. She's so sweet. But she's like, I've been seeing what you're doing with your YouTube, and I think it's awesome. And she was like, sometimes I worry about you, like for your safety, because she was like, I agree with pretty much everything you say, but some people are not gonna agree with you. And I'm like, the crazy part about it is I'm not really saying anything outlandish. The only thing is I say it out loud, and the rest of y'all don't. That's the only difference. If y'all can see how many freaking people I have in my DMs, emailing me, calling me. When I see people I haven't seen in a while, girl, I be watching your YouTube. I be watching. I agree with a lot of stuff you say. I'm really not saying anything that far-fetched. There are statistics to show that people are dealing with these issues, and why people want to ignore them for the sake of virtue signaling. I don't understand it for the life of me. And so we have to have these real discussions. We have to have balance. We have to, for Steven Spielberg's daughter to sit there and admit that she was indeed abused as a child, and now she feels like to express herself and to come into her own, she basically has to engage in sex work. But for like some reason, like me making that connection is hateful of sex workers. No. Treat all people with dignity and respect. But when you really love people, when you really care about people, you want to make sure they're fully cognizant and fully owning the decisions that they're making, because a lot of people are just making moves based off their trauma. I can't say that's all people. No, I would never sit here and say that. Some people are very brazen and happy about all the decisions they're making, but it's a lot of people. A lot, because I've heard them talk. I've talked to them. I've seen people talking online. There's a lot of hurt people just doing stuff just to get by. Just doing stuff just to get by. But nobody wants to talk about it because it's unpopular, it's rude, it's hate speech. No, I care about you so much that I want to make sure that you're not moving from a place of trauma. You're not making these decisions based off hurt. And sometimes, see, I don't even know if most people realize how bad sexual experiences at young ages can literally rewire your brain. Literally. It's real. This is a real thing. And it upsets the heck out of me that nobody wants to talk about. When you have met a little girl, I think the girl was freaking 9, 10, young, and was molested. And now you cannot stop having sex. Like, you can't stop. Like, something in you, you literally can't stop. Are those the things that we're going to celebrate? Even if you didn't know the backstory. We're basically celebrating children's sexuality. We're going around doing freaking press tours about kids' sexuality. That should be handled within the home. I don't want to hear about your kids' sexuality on TV. Thank you, Gab. Like, so this whole uh you know sexually free slut culture, whatever goes, we are already seeing a lot of repercussions from this. You're going to see it socially. These people, give it another 5 to 10, 20 years, you're going to see people so drugged out, a lot more people getting into sex work. And if you are a grown person, and these are the decisions that you decide to make, you're grown. I'm for freedom. And you deserve to be treated like a person with decency. I agree to that. But what I'm not going to do is just make it seem like 15 and 16-year-olds are just waking up one day like, yeah, I think when I grow up, I want to be an astronaut or a sex worker. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to feed in people delusions. It doesn't happen like that. Most times, and the statistics and the data are there. Y'all can look. Go watch interviews from people that have worked in porn, people that ended up being freaking trafficked, people that have worked in strip clubs. When you hear about these people actually talk about all the things that happened there, the things that led them there, it's not a freaking I had a dream speech. So most times when people are doing these things, they're usually either from trauma or they just don't see another way out. They see it as a money opportunity and it supersedes the other opportunities that they see available. So people will do it for a short time, just trying to get a lot of money, but it's because they feel at that moment it is the best option. It's not waking up like, Baby, what you want to be when you grow up? Well, Mom, maybe a doctor. I don't know. I thought about being a neurosurgeon or maybe a prostitute. I kind of been thinking about that too. No, it's not happening like that. It's not. And so I'm sorry that after hearing so many stories, after looking at the numbers of all the alcoholism and the drug addictions that are tied to the sex work field and the trauma, and me just trying to be ready to just celebrate, no. I'm not. And I'm not going to celebrate you doing press tours about your child's sexuality. I'm not. And I don't give a crap if we're talking about T.I.'s daughter or Dwayne Wade's son. Keep that same energy. And so for people to not care what's going on with the Boy Scouts, this is a perfect example of people saying they're about this and they're about that, and it's not translating. It's not what's happening. People don't care. If you want people to not grow up and have these traits, which y'all call toxic, some of these things, particularly abuse, that is one of the worst things that could happen for young children. But we have to look at these things and understand how it is affecting the totality of what and how people think. And I can't do it. I just can't. I don't know. And maybe when you and another thing I was talking to my cousin about the other night, we were talking about reality versus social media, right? Because I was telling her that once you get on the computer, you get on social media, you get on Twitter, you get on Instagram, Facebook, you think everybody is a sex worker. You thinking everybody turn their kids into trans kids. You think the KKK about to shoot you down by the time you get to your mailbox. You think the world is ending. You think everybody has a horrible life. Everybody's just so sad and poor and miserable. No good things happen outside. The world is about to end next year. Like all these things. And I'm like, but when you go talk to people in reality, something's not lining up. And I feel like people are getting so stuck in this social sphere that it's like making people believe that is only reality. And it's just not the case. And I don't know. I just be wanting people to look at the realness of issues, not just the cute hashtags, but looking at these things, from balanced perspectives. These things have nuances. Looking at the theme and even sometimes the negative implications of what these things mean, instead of just trying to push anything behind power and social justice. That's so shallow. It's so shallow. Hashtag culture is so shallow because they try to encapsulate whole ideologies behind 3-word hashtags, and you cannot do that. You cannot do it. You can't do it. So Carl said people have completely lost sight of reality. And it's weird, man. It's weird. And sometimes that's why I always suggest, like, every now and again, you have to deplug and just get back into the real world and actually talk to real people. And it's interesting because I still know a couple people that don't really do social media. And so I can tell when I talk to them about certain things, it's like, what? That's really like happening? Like that's a thing? you know? And they're just shocked by like people doing that. So definitely, but I with the Boy Scouts, I think they're they're reaping, they're having a lot of repercussions from things that they haven't dealt with in the right way as far as all these sexual allegations. And I think it's so unfortunate that the in a social sphere, we're not putting more pressure on these people, because you're literally going to have people handing their kids over. They're going to continue to hand their kids over to these organizations. And it's really unfortunate. And if this was any girls' organization, they would have been shut down. Everybody would have been talking about it, and it would have been anywhere. But if we want that balance, right? And people say they're against toxic masculinity, and y'all know I don't particularly believe in that term. I think toxicity is not gender specific, right? But just thinking about some of the things people subscribe to toxic masculinity, right? If you're really against those things, you want to be very supportive of little boys, emotionally and mentally. So that way they grow up to be mentally and emotionally strong young men. And that's how you help dwindle toxic traits over time. But we're not going to do that if we ignore certain issues. We're not going to do that. It's not going to happen. But thank you, Gab. Thank you, everybody that super chatted. Ghost Saint said his daughter is black, adopted. I think, yep, she was adopted. He's talking about Steven Spielberg's daughter. She was adopted. And you know, she's all out here in Hollywood. They're doing all kind of stuff to these kids, man. Did y'all see this recent video of Amanda Bynes where she's standing next to her boyfriend and she has like the little septum ring and the dark hair, and she's just talking like something's missing, something's gone. Man, they doing all. And then I was just talking about Orlando. What's the other boy that used to be on the Disney Channel? Orlando something. I can't think of his last name. He was on like with That's So Raven. But they're jacking these kids up, man. They're jacking them up. And that's why we got to get like the Harvey Weinsteins and all these other creepy predators out of there. And that's why you need the Oprahs and the Gales and all these other people to come out and stand up against it. And then the crazy part about it is, you might think, well, oh, that's Hollywood. Orlando Brown, thank you, Edward. You might think, oh, well, that's just Hollywood, right? But these are the people that your kids are looking up to. These are the people that are pushing these movements. That are telling your kids it's okay to do this and do that and act this way and celebrate your trauma, and things like this. So yeah, it's all connected. But anyway, y'all, those are my thoughts. I'm gonna go ahead and hop off of here. Thank y'all so much for rocking with me every Tuesday. And hopefully y'all, I have some products coming really soon, like within the next month or two. So I'm super excited to share it with y'all. So hopefully y'all support me, but I'm excited and I'll tell y'all more as time comes. But I'm looking forward to that and doing more stuff. But we'll talk about it. But anyway, so thank you to my patrons. Thank you so much to my VIP patrons, Michael Ray, Valdis, and Ray Ray. Thank y'all so much. Thank you to everybody that super chatted, and thank you to everybody that joined me tonight. I appreciate y'all so much. And all right, y'all, have a good night. Bye.